Good morning. You're listening to Central Wisconsin's 24-hour information station, AM 1320 WFHR. It's time now for the Morning Magazine, brought to you by Comfort Air Heating, Cooling, Plumbing. Now, with the Morning Magazine, here's Carl Hilke.
Thank you, Jerry, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's show on AM 1320 and streaming live at WFHR.com. And a first for our station. The first time we are live on TV. We're live right now on Facebook, as well as Charter 985 and Solaris 3. So if you got access to any of those video locations, you can watch us live right now. And why are we doing this? Well, it's a very special Wednesday. Wisconsin Rapids Mayor Zach Vruwink is here for his monthly visit, and we will be taking your questions here at 424-2600 for that. But we also are raising money today, a radiothon for Aquatics. And the mayor is here, Joe Terry is here, and I have a member of the Mayor's Youth Council who's also happened to be dressed in her, wearing her crown as Miss Wisconsin Rapids area. And so with that, we welcome Mayor Zach Vruwink. Good morning, Your Honor. We got quite the production going on.
It's nice to see all this come together. Good morning to you and good morning to our listeners, both that might be first-time joiners or watching us maybe on a recording after the show. It's great to have folks pay attention and become informed of what's happening in the community.
Okay, so what are we today? Last night, literally, the Common Council wore their beach garb.
The best beach garb, right?
Their best beach garb. And they took a ceremonial, it was dry, but they had a picture taken, and they also passed the hat to formally start the fundraising for the Aquatics project.
That's correct. In fact, last night was the second or third, really, event that we had planned as part of Aquatics fundraising kickoff week in the city of Wisconsin Rapids. Sunday, Mayor's Youth Council members, myself, city staff, created a really cool parade float and went through the Cranberry Blossom Fest parade, handed out small business card-sized informational pieces where folks can get connected with what's happening in the project, but also learn about the designs, to see the beautiful designs. We also have this wonderful flyover that's been created. So that was Sunday at the Cranberry Blossom Fest. And then on Monday, we had the library host during their two scheduled movies that they had at the library, also shared information about the project. And then last night, the city council members formally and personally took the plunge, made a splash to support the project.
Okay. You also last night made an announcement about the schedule, and we're going to be pushing back the actual construction a bit. What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, originally we had two scenarios that we shared with the public related to schedule and breaking ground, and ultimately, while we felt there was a high degree of ambition built into that schedule, we felt it was in the best interest of not only ourselves to create the necessary fundraising campaign and get that underway, but also the sake of construction and trying to time it appropriately so we can potentially get the best pricing for the project. If going to bid in a late December, early January timeframe should encourage better construction estimates and numbers for us. So we hope that we'll get more attractive bids when that time comes, and such that will allow us to formally break ground in the spring of next year. It will take a good construction season to construct, so we're not looking for an opening to happen until 2019. However, it should be advantageous to us from a cost standpoint to potentially drive down some of the costs and not have to construct over the winter months. And if Joe has anything to add, of course, the Public Works Director in the Department of Public Works really has a major role to play in this project. They're going to have to operate this thing, and maybe Joe has
Joe, timing these things, when to go to market and stuff is critical to keep costs under control.
It is, and trying to make sure that we're getting our projects out when the contractors are looking for work versus once they're fairly full, then they're not as ambitious to sharpen the pencil and make the best rate. You know, the other things that we're considering too, there's some other advantages to this as well. It gives us a little time to really put together a great program for when we operate the pool. The facility is going to have several bodies of water, and we want to make sure that we have a great programming package so that we're able to serve the community well, have different events during the day that really won't exclude any users, right? I mean, we can do things in certain bodies of the pool and keep the other bodies open. So for that planning standpoint and, in developing our staff and that it's exciting, and that time frame will work very well for that.
You also brought along our Miss Wisconsin Rapids area, and she was also a member of the youth council. Why don't you introduce her?
She had a busy weekend, so she's probably coming off a little
from
bit of
Oshkosh.
exhaustion, like we were with Blossom Fest. So she's back in the city, and we welcome Ryan back to the station. We also have two individuals out at the phones that are taking calls. That maybe you want to.
Okay, well, here's how we're going to do it, folks. Yeah, we are. This is a radiothon, and much like we've done with United Way, here's how it's going to work. If you want to pledge, if you want to take the plunge yourself, or if you want to issue, say, a challenge to, say you're an accountant and you want to challenge other accountants, or you're a builder and you want to challenge other builders, or whatever, or you are a former member of, say, the Lincoln High School swim team and you want to, whatever, call 715 424-1300. 424-1300. The phones are staffed, and you can make your pledge and say, I'll take the plunge, and make a pledge. And that's how easy it is. And this is going to be a citizen-driven project.
That's correct.
It's not just all on the taxpayer. So if it's going to happen, it's going to involve all of us. And you all have been ringing my phone off the hook, and everything's, oh, yeah, we're all for this. Okay, well, now's the time. And so everybody, the 424-1300, and you can make your pledge. And if you want to make a challenge, feel free to do so. I'll have Pam or somebody bring me in the challenge, and we'll issue the challenge out there, too. That's a lot of fun, too. So, Ryan, first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
And being at the Miss Wisconsin pageant.
Yes.
How did it go?
It went really well. People always say it's the most exhausting but rewarding week of your life, and that's definitely a true fact. I'm still a little bit tired from it, but it was so well worth it.
Now, I know besides that, you've been an active member of the Mayor's Youth Council,
Yes.
and this project you've been very passionate about.
Yes, for sure.
Why? Why is this so important to you?
Well, especially coming from the youth perspective, a lot of our friends say, there's nothing to do in Rapids. This is like, I can't wait to get out of our town. There's nothing here for us anymore. And with the closing of the Mead Pool, that's kind of become true. So really taking a passion on this is ensuring that in the future years, there are going to be kids who don't have to say that, because there is going to be something here that we're excited about. And I'm definitely excited about this project.
Okay. So how has the Youth Council been trying to generate support for the project?
Yes, so we've been working with Mayor Vruwink a lot on our fundraising endeavors, and our goal is $250,000 just coming from people working with the Mayor's Youth Council. So that's kind of a big number, especially to a bunch of teenagers, but we definitely think that we can do it. We're pretty ambitious. We're a very driven group of people, and we really want to meet that goal and say that, we put our mark on our city. And
I was just going to say, because when this thing is built, you're going to be able to say, hey, to future, when you're my age, or hey, I helped do that.
Yes.
What do you say to folks that go, can Wisconsin Rapids support this? Is this sustainable? Or why an outdoor facility instead of an indoor? And I'm sure you've heard some of that. What do you tell folks?
Well, for one thing, it's a year-round facility because there's some features worked in so that we can make it an ice rink during the winter time, which is really great. But there's so many youth in our community, and we even put out a survey through the Mayor's Youth Council that went to Assumption and also went to Lincoln, and it was an overwhelming response that said that youth would totally use this pool. I would want to. I get excited when I look at the flyover and I look at all the blueprints, because it's like, to me, it's like getting a mini Wisconsin Dells in your own town. I mean, I don't know who wouldn't be excited about that sort of thing.
Okay. And Mayor, she touched on something. Young people saying there's nothing here to do. On another end, we have companies like a Mariani and the like, or Renaissance Learning, who are saying, we have job openings. We need to recruit young workers or young families. And it's tough sometimes because they're going, well, what's available for our family in your community?
That's so true. And when we've been, I've had every donor visit that I've had in front of corporations or corporate givers have been involving the Mayor's Youth Council members. So they've been not only kind of thrown into an opportunity to really be grilled by potentially plant managers and others that have said, well, why do you think the community needs this? Why should we support the project? And of course, that's a tee up for what they're ultimately have been sharing with us, and that is they believe this is a recruitment strategy. So it's great to have this in our community from a quality of life aspect, but they really believe that when they are trying to recruit people to work for them or to this community, it'll be a key spot on their recruitment visit or tour of the community. But it'll also be something that their families can see and to believe that they'll spend time at and to be able to take advantage of. One of the corporate givers or the interested parties has said, we've been in this community for over 40 years. This asset will be here for another 40, and we hope to be here for that 40 as well. So why wouldn't we support this facility and make it happen? So I'll tell you, it's been resounding in terms of the support that businesses have just advocated and pledged to the project. You know, of course, their financial means will dictate how much they can financially participate, but we believe that we'll have a major corporate support piece to the project. And having just kicked off fundraising week, we don't have anything to announce today on the show, but we do have some givers that are considering requests, and based on their annual budget cycles and others, there will be corporate announcements over the course of the summer.
And that's an important thing to remember, too. Businesses have different cycles.
Right.
In terms of how they do their budgets. And one might be June to June, one might be January to January. And so, but your response to what was your feeling from talking to these business leaders?
Yeah.
And did you convince them?
Yes, I like to, we call it reeling in the big fish, because we're always trying to reel them in. And I think it definitely helps when Mayor's Youth Council members go with, and they can see how much of an impact it will have in like families' lives, because it definitely will. I mean, I'm going to college next year. I'm going to be going to University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire, but I hope that when I come back to Rapids someday, there's things to do here. Or when I look to maybe move my family here, I can say, like you said before, you know, I played a part in building that, and it'd be a feature I would look for in a town I'd want my family to live in. Again,
right now you can take the plunge, and all size donations are welcome. Every dollar will be put toward the project at 715-424-1300. And if you want to make a challenge, have some fun with it, feel free to do so. Members of the Mayor's Youth Council are at the phones, and Pam's out there too, helping them. And give them a phone call. Keep them busy. And if you ever wanted to see the radio station live on TV, we're live right now on Facebook, as well as on Charter 985 and Solaris 3.
Carl, would you have ever imagined to have a video broadcast of your radio show? This has got to be one of the first.
Yeah, I've had them record it and stuff, but right. But to have an actual, this is cool. I mean, we got a production room outside the studio, so technology. This is what technology can do. We can make a radio station, a TV station, instantaneously, and it's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. One aspect about this, and I've talked to the Rafters about this, is that they're excited about it because of the way it will finish off Witter Field. You got the baseball stadium there, but if you can bring other families there, I can see from their business standpoint, spend a Saturday afternoon at the pool and then go to the ballpark for a Saturday night fireworks show and baseball game and stuff like that. So
there's no question there was intentionality around that. But I would also recognize past planning efforts in which Witter Field was identified as a key site of consideration in previous efforts. You know, they wanted a facility that was bikeable, walkable, and accessible to all community members. And Witter Field services the nexus, or I call the center of gravity of our community in the best possible way when you look at a map of the city and the city limits. So that's exciting. exciting. And we know that folks are obviously visiting Witter, and that's an accessible site for the ball games. That we believe that center site, it's also got great visibility off of 8th Street. So when you're passing by on 8th Street, you'll be able to see the nice slide towers and some of the other very vertical features, which are intended to be lit at night. So they'll really create a nice visual appeal to those that might be passing by the facility as well.
Now, this, as the plan was presented at the PAC, and not everything has to be built at once. Mm-hmm. We can start off at a certain level, and then as revenue streams come in, you can expand. What's the initial plan in terms of that?
So primarily the aquatics park itself, and we've reserved some features at the park that could be expanded upon in the future. The slide tower, for example, the intent is to have 2 slides, one that's a little bit slower, more family friendly with tubes so the youngsters can go with mom and dad, one that's a little more exciting, and then future slide would be more of a vertical plunge slide that we could do down the road as funding permits. Similarly, in one of the pools, we are equipping it for what's called a Wibbits course. It's an inflatable obstacle course that's placed in the pool. They're a lot of fun, really exciting. The kids just love it. It's a little bit out of our scope right now, but we can prepare that pool and have it ready for it so that we can add it at any time. It makes it a facility that can grow with the community, and we're excited about that. Other features that could be built now or later are some of the park features. Playground. We're looking at an external splash park that's not intended as a more traditional splash park, but more of an artistic feature, something that's lit, modest, but you could still play in it, and it'd make a beautiful evening attraction. Those types of features are features that are built into our master plan, but we can delay those as needed.
Okay. What about the features that would be used in the winter? Is that going to be add on down the line, or is that going to be something available immediately?
That would be something that would be available immediately. Our goal there was always to try to retain winter use. We've heard a number of citizen comments about the desire to keep ice skating at Witter. We're going to do that with a very unique design or feature that isn't really seen in a lot of smaller communities, and that's kind of a skate ribbon. The concept there is the parking lot will be designed, and the turnaround area at the entrance would be designed so that a large vinyl sheet would go down, and the parking lot, because all of that parking for summer use won't be necessary in the winter, that literally half of the lot and the horseshoe drop-off site would become a skating pond in the wintertime. That facility is year-round. There's a reservable shelter. We've heard that there's a real need for more reservable shelter areas for family reunions and parties and corporate events. The concession stand, the restrooms, all those features will be year-round features.
Okay. And those will
talk about sort of phasing it in budget. So
right.
The concept master plan, as it's proposed and designed today, is about a $12 million price tag. The aquatics portion is about a $7 million investment. So as Joe talked about, 3 bodies of water, but the park features, as Joe outlined, are about $2 or so million. So it gives us some flexibility to be able to add those features as the park gets built. Given that there's a year of construction, we'll be fundraising that entire time, right? So there is some opportunity to get the development underway and then build those other features. There'll be also an open-air picnic shelter on the outside of the facility. We really wanted to make it a park attraction in addition to just the aquatics park for the variety of reasons that were mentioned, wintertime and year-round use. But also, there may be people that may never use the aquatic center and also want to take advantage of a nice central park feature in the community, of which we don't have today, right? Witter is primarily a recreational ball field sort of facility, and so this will create additional uses while also retaining the tennis courts, the skate park, and some of the other features in green space that we host t-ball and rec soccer and some of those other pieces at the facility as well.
And those will be enhanced based on the design I saw. It will make Witter look more like a park.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. And really, like the mayor expressed, the full service type park, from athletic opportunities to recreational opportunities, just general beauty. So it really is an exciting project.
Now, the other question that comes up, and again, you can call 715-424-1300 to make your pledge. You can take your own personal pledge. And if you want to talk to our panel, 715-424-2600 will get you on the air. But how do we keep this sustainable? That's the other question I'm sure you've heard. Okay, how are we going to keep this sustainable so we can maintain it? These things are not easy to maintain. They're expensive to maintain. How do we do that?
Well, we've touched on capital. I think we've covered a pretty good component of what are the costs to construct and what it's going to take to get that facility built. We haven't touched operating cost, and that's something that the city from the beginning began to analyze. So the Mead Pool, for context, the Mead Pool, which served capacity of maybe 350 users in a given day, that facility ran about $70,000 or so to operate just for a couple of months season. And surprisingly, if you scale a facility such as this, you add in new revenue streams such as concessions, reservable cabanas and seating areas inside the facility, the shelter reservation, and others, there's a good chance that the subsidy will be about the same from the taxpayers. So while the operating cost may be in the $300,000 range, then Joe can talk about some of the other facilities that we've looked at around the state.
I wanted to talk about
the whole
that.
gamut. Really, it's interesting to see how municipalities have been able to be very prudent with the operations of the thing, so they didn't have to subsidize every dollar that it takes to operate it.
Okay, so what other facilities did you study to learn how to do this in a cost-efficient way?
Sure. So there's a wide variety of facilities throughout the state, from Madison to Merrill, and really what pushed forward was that the programming opportunities are what helps drive the revenues. Having small things so that the facility is inexpensive to use, anybody can come and use it, but that you have some nice features so that if you want a little bit of luxury, you can do that. If you want to participate in some additional recreational or learning activities, that comes at a small cost in addition. But the programming and keeping it open throughout the day, and and concessions, all those things help generate revenue to offset the costs. You run it like you run a business, and it's all about service. So if you're serving the community well, you've got opportunities in the morning, afternoon. It's not just a 1 to 8 swimming pool. That's where the opportunities for revenue come in. And
also that's where the age spectrum gets expanded too. And we got to take a quick break, but I want to talk about that. We've highlighted the youth, and justifiably so, but this is something that will also be used by folks of all ages. From the presentation I witnessed at the Performing Arts Center.
About some of those features.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that because I'm sure our radio audience would be very interested in that. But before we go to break, Ryan, you're Miss Wisconsin Rapids area.
Yes, I am.
And you're also a member of the Mayor's Youth Council.
Yes.
Tell people right now why they should call 715-424-1300 and make a plunge for the Aquatics Center.
Yes, the youth, we are so excited about something like this. The rest of the city should too. It's going to be something that's going to be around for a long time, and I'm excited to see it when I get older, so let's make it a reality.
Okay, on that note, we'll take our first break. You're listening to The Morning Magazine on AM 1320 and WFHR.com, and we are streaming live on Facebook as well as Charter 985 and Solaris 3, so you can get to see that. Yes, I do have a face for radio.
Good morning and welcome back to The Morning Magazine, presented by Comfort Air Heating, Cooling, Plumbing. It's time for part 2. Once again, here's Carl Hilke.
Thank you again, Jerry, and welcome back, everybody, to today's show on AM 1320 and streaming live at WFHR.com. And we are also streaming live on Facebook as well as Charter 985 and Solaris 3 simulcast. Yeah, you can watch it live right now on your TV at home or on your computer. First for the radio station, and it's because we're part of the Aquatics fundraising kickoff, so I guess you could say AM 1320 is taking the plunge, and the phone line for your donation is open at 715-424-1300. Mayor Vruwink is here, and another member of the Youth Council has popped in. Why don't you introduce, and we got Joe Terry, Public Works Director here, so why don't you introduce our newest panel member?
Yeah, we brought in another face to those that are maybe watching via Facebook or on the live stream on TV. We've got Ashley Bone here from the Mayor's Youth Council. She's been involved at least a year. Tell us how long you've been involved in the Mayor's Youth Council.
Well, I've been a part of Mayor's Youth Council since it was created, so around 3 years ago, but I've been a part of the Aquatics fundraising and design for around a year. And it's amazing to see the progress that we have made so far and to see that we have the 3D flyover, and hopefully this will be a reality soon with the fundraising. So we need everyone's donation in the city that we can get.
Why is this so important to you? I'll ask you the same question.
Well, like Ryan said, I hear people say how Wisconsin Rapids is not a fun place anymore. It's boring. There's nothing to do. Well, that's not true. We have many assets. We have the river, we have parks. We just don't utilize them to the best of our abilities. And we haven't, since the closing of the Mead Pool, we don't have a pool or recreation facility. So that is something we need to instill soon. So with this aquatic park, we will be able to attract more people and, like local employers, keep the businesses open and continue to thrive as a community. And it's important. Yes, I'm going off to college, but I hope to come back to this community, and that would be an amazing asset to have.
Where are you going to college?
I'm going to Viterbo in La Crosse.
Oh, good. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, going into break, we were talking about some other facilities around the state, but I wanted to mention, because AM 1320 has an older listening audience, and they're going, well, what's in this for us?
Sure.
And aquatics therapy, in terms of fighting things like arthritis or whatever, has become very popular. And during the presentation back at the PAC, they talked about that. And that will be, if I understand what was presented, we could have that available for our seniors to use as part of their exercise and therapy programs.
That's correct. As we design this facility, and we're working on the final design at this point, one of the concepts was specifically for aquatic therapy and being able to include that in our programming options. For example, part of this facility will have a lazy river.
That's for me.
The lazy river will actually be a little bit deeper than what normal lazy rivers are, solely for the purpose of water walking and morning low-impact workouts. 20 laps to the mile is how we're planning our lazy river, and so that specifically to address those types of issues. Also, there wasn't a desire for the city to have a competitive lap pool. We wanted to try to encourage between the YMCA and the schools that if those are serving those people, but we still wanted to have an area for lap swimming, and so it'll be a modest 3-lap lane pool with other features, but that programming would allow us then to have morning lap swim or an afternoon lap swim, and keep all the other activities, most of the other activities, in play at the same time.
Okay. During the break, I heard you talking about a facility in Oshkosh.
Yeah, so the Pollock facility was one that certainly helped influence the design here in Wisconsin Rapids. We looked at some other facilities in Merrill, down in Middleton as well. And and the influence there was that it's, pools nowadays that are successful outdoor facilities are really a park. It's not just it's not just a pool. There are other activities there, from aquatic activities to non-aquatic activities, and those are the facilities that seem to be successful and quite popular. And when you look at the user participation rate at those facilities, it's clear that that they got it right. And using them as an example as we worked into our design makes me feel very confident that this is going to be an excellent facility and very exciting.
How much will it cost to make use of this aquatics park? Obviously, there's
on a gate entry basis.
Yeah, it's gate entry basis.
We haven't set a fee schedule yet. However, looking at like facilities, the Pollock facility, which Joe just mentioned, Hartford, there's others around the state. They all have very modest, low cost of entry, and so I would suspect in a $3 to $5 per person per day basis for city residents, of course. Non-residents will have a much higher fee schedule, of which we have not established, but we believe that accessibility is critical. It's a public facility. All of our residents, regardless of their socioeconomic status, should have the ability to use the facility. So we have fully intend to offer the same scholarshiping opportunities like we did at the Mead Pool, but also to keep gate entry low enough for those that are also paying city taxes to have access to the pool.
Again, you can take the plunge by calling 715-424-1300, and all size donations are welcome. If you want to issue a challenge, like I use it as an example. Say you're a past member of the Lincoln High School swim team, and you want to, hey, I'm issuing a challenge. I'm making a donation. I'm issuing a challenge to my fellow teammates from what, go ahead, or you're representing a certain business. We're going to have some fun with this, so we want to keep the folks out front busy. So call them up at 715-424-1300. You can speak with Miss Wisconsin Rapids area personally. That should be a good enough.
Yes, she moved out to the front phones.
Yeah. So she'll be. You can talk to her.
Congratulate her on her great experience and her representation of the city.
That's right. But how much are we hoping to raise to get things started?
I'll let Ashley talk about their fundraising goal, and then we'll address that.
Okay.
Well, as a part of Mayor's Youth Council, we wanted to raise $250,000 so that we can have employers to match that. So we've been asking larger companies if whatever we raise, if they'll match that. So hopefully we can achieve our goal a lot quicker.
What kind of response are you getting from companies? Are they interested?
Yeah, many companies are interested. I went to the Mariani's and different Renaissance, and they are willing to donate. Okay.
So the business community and the larger employers are going to be getting behind this because they see it as something that can help, as we've talked about, attract and keep employees.
That's right. That's right. And many of these companies, obviously they employ a number of people, all of which are active in our community in some form. And so we felt that, and the Mayor's Youth Council really came up with the idea that there was no better way for an employer to match their employees' excitement toward the project, and that's to financially match their donations. And so while we're still working on details with those companies, generally they're very interested in not a single company has said to us the community doesn't deserve this, or we can't afford it, or it's not going to work, but really that they wanted to make sure that from an endorsement standpoint that they fully endorse the idea and the concept and want to make it a reality.
Ashley, what do you say to the naysayers out there?
Well, I've had many positive reactions towards this, but there are people who question how this facility will be sustainable. But in the long run, with the gate entrance and the city putting funds away, it will be sustainable. Well,
you're also generating income by the rent, for instance, the facilities that can be rented for family reunions, stuff that can be, and those facilities can be used year round.
That's correct. Right, and some of the features that we are looking at are also aquatics related facilities. There will be shade structures on the deck, but there'll also be some shade structures that you can reserve, some cabanas, different types of deck chairs, so that if you really want to be assured that you're having your family come and you want to make sure that you can set up your little your picnic area or whatever, that you can do that. So we're trying to make sure that there's a variety of opportunities.
One aspect of this project that was talked about is getting other surrounding municipalities on board. And I'll give you an example. If you're on the wrong side of 16th Street, you might pay a residence fee if you are in the city, but if you're in the town of Grand Rapids, you're going to be paying a non-resident fee. Mm-hmm. And that can be different. And this is going to be used by all of the kids from all the municipalities, mm-hmm. and families from all municipalities. Right. So what kind of response have you been getting? I know a lot of folks who live in those communities have said, well, we're going to talk to our boards.
And they were present at the PAC in early April when we presented the facility. And the first question, there were a couple that hung around for me to exit the facility, and Joe was there to attest to it, that said, how do we get our town board, how do we get our village board to have a discussion about partnering on a regional basis? Because, as you just said, this facility doesn't have political boundaries. I mean, this facility will serve anybody and everybody in our surrounding communities. So we've been internally discussing how might we be able to put forth a financial model that makes sense for municipalities. You know, we're all living within tight levy restrictions from the state. However, this facility, and we believe we'll have a creative option to put on the table for these municipalities to consider to enable their residents to be able to get in on a gate basis that's a resident rate, to take advantage of a similar model in which the city residents will be able to take advantage of. So, it can be, it's going to be done fairly easy. I mean, we believe that the residents of the municipalities will step up. They'll be calling their elected representatives in each of the respective towns and villages. And we're not asking for them to contribute $5 million. It's going to be much less than that based on the size of their municipality. And we can't forget, the city's a city of about 18,000 and a community of about 45,000. We realize that there's just as many residents who may use this facility in our boundaries as there are out. And so to put together a financial option for them to consider and to partner in the facility just makes basic sense. We also sized it appropriately based on a regional demand study, that we wanted to make sure that if the city council wasn't going to build just a city-sized pool or a neighborhood pool like the Mead Pool was, that we look at doing a regional facility and see what the demand looks like. And ultimately, we settled on a regional scale demand that on a given day we'll have about 800 folks that'll be able to be entered through the doors and take advantage of what's to offer.
Ashley, have you heard from friends of yours who live outside the city boundaries about this project?
I have, and they're super excited about it, and they don't think that it being in Wisconsin Rapids is a restriction at all. There will definitely be ways that if the municipalities step up to donate, that the gate fee will be a resident fee or examples like that.
Yeah, well, like I said, if you're on a boundary area, it'd be kind of sad because kids don't recognize boundaries. If they live in a neighborhood, they all get together, and be sad if one group of kids, well, you're paying this much and you're paying more. Mm-hmm. And a kid going, why? Mm-hmm. So let's, if it's going to be a regional aquatics facility, let's get involved as a region. But right now, what I want you to do is get on the phone, 715-424-1300, 424-1300. All size donations are welcome. And also, the Mayor's Youth Council will answer your questions. Mm-hmm. If they have, so if you have some questions for them about the project, ask them. They're here to volunteer. They're helping out. So the least you can do is talk to them and learn more about it and take the plunge. Okay, folks, this is the future of our community, so let's do this, okay? And with that, we're going to take another break and come back with more here on the Morning Magazine on AM 1320 and WFHR.com, and we're also streaming live, that's right, live on Facebook, Charter 985 and Solaris 3. It's a simulcast. Welcome back to the Morning Magazine. It's a first for AM 1320. Not only are we streaming live on the web at WFHR.com, we're streaming live on Facebook, Facebook, and Charter 985 and Solaris 3. Yes, welcome to my workplace. This is what the radio station looks like, folks, and you're seeing it live as it happens this morning. And again, we want you to make your plunge for the Aquatics Center, 715-424-1300. And the Mayor's Youth Council and the youth in general many times have led our city. One example is coming up. I remember when our fireworks shows, quite honestly, stunk. It involves somebody with a flare shooting off a shell or two every maybe 2-3 minutes because they were told by the Common Council they had to make a show that should be only 10 to 15 minutes last an hour. And people were sitting there going, oh, this is fun. And eventually, before you got eaten up by the mosquitoes, you went home. So then there was the effort. Why can't Wisconsin Rapids have a big fireworks show? And our youth stepped forward. The Teen Fireworks Committee. Remember? Well, they're still here, and they're still working, and there's been a little bit of a change in the arrangement, whereas it used to be with Encourage, the Teen Fireworks Committee now will be working with the city. And I know Ashley Bone is here, and you wanted to talk we're going to break from talking about water to talking about Boom Boom, and what has become a major tourist attraction in this area. It brings in thousands of people from all over who come to the best fireworks show on the 4th of July in central Wisconsin. Well,
as you know, the Wisconsin Rapids fireworks are spectacular. We bring in tons of people, and for the show, we do a lot of fundraising for this, and ever since 2005, the city hasn't funded for it. So the youth have gone out to different events, such as the Cranberry Blossom Festival, Lunch by the River, asking for donations through businesses and local people to fund the fireworks show. But as of right now, we are $1,000 short, and we still need donations. But the 4th of July is coming up soon, so we need to really get that $1,000 quickly.
Okay, so if you and your extended family come down every 4th of July to Wisconsin Rapids, come on. If every family gave $5-10 that attends the show, we wouldn't have to worry about this. So how can they donate? So how can folks donate?
Well, they can stop by the City Hall and donate through that and say it's for the fireworks, or they can drop it off at at WFHR and say it's also for the fireworks. Okay,
yeah. And by the way, our FM sister, Y105.5, WLJY, has been doing the simulcast of the fireworks music.
That's right.
And we coordinate with the production company out of the Twin Cities, which you've extended that contract. And the one reason you went with these folks is they are good at fairly close proximity fireworks on a smaller river.
Yeah.
They know how to do it safely. With the Tribune Building project going to be getting started, I know logistically things will change. Again, I'm hearing talk that we might be going to barges.
There's a good possibility that we'll have to go to a mobile platform, right, to be able to keep the safety zone away from all of the other aspects that are kind of anchors in the downtown area.
Okay. But it's become, we talk about economic development, other communities schedule their fireworks shows around Wisconsin Rapids because everybody comes here. Law enforcement coordinates because Highway 54 coming into town all of a sudden has a traffic jam. Both before and after. People are coming in from the south and from the Marshfield area. I mean, that is huge, and it's developed into this big downtown festival.
That's correct. Yeah, it's an exciting time, and obviously we love to celebrate the beautiful downtown we have on the banks of the Wisconsin River, which is really cool. People can also donate online. I forgot to mention that to Ashley earlier. We have set it up online now, so folks can go to invest.wirapids.org, make a donation for a whole host of causes, of which fireworks is now on the city's Facebook page, so people want to, or the city's website, if people want to make a donation through PayPal, they could do so.
Yeah, and if you want to make a donation right now for Aquatics and take the plunge, 715-424-1300, or take the plunge and say, I want to also make Boom Boom. we don't care. This is about the community. Does this project and being, Ashley, being involved in this, give you more hope for your hometown?
Yeah, it does. It shows that people are still willing to raise money for the fireworks, and it's exciting to bring all the people that come to the fireworks show together and show how many people truly live in Rapids and support our community. Now, if we can get those thousands of people to support the aquatics, then we can have an aquatics center.
Okay. Mayor, this is all part of the overall redevelopment plan for the city. And I'd be remiss in my reporting duties if I didn't ask you about a couple of items regarding that. First off, the Triangle Project. It looks nice. It's been landscaped and it's cleaned up. It's ready to go. What's the plan for that?
So we've formally taken ownership of the former county annex building where the health department used to reside. So we've taken ownership of that. At this point, we don't have a schedule for demolition of that building, but we do have a developer that we've been having negotiations and discussions with. We don't have a plan identified yet or fully developed, but we're still sticking to the main concept that we have residential apartments and condos, and some mixture of those two pieces, as well as some retail. We very much want to introduce some more entertainment options, restaurant and that sort of thing downtown. So we're sticking with that concept, and we have a call scheduled with them just after the 4th holiday to begin negotiating and figuring out what the mix will look like, right? And to see if that developer will ultimately be a fit for the city.
Are you at liberty to say who the developer is and where they're from?
They are from Wisconsin. They're very versed in community development in communities like Wausau. They've done some projects. They've done projects in Marshfield as well as many down in the southern part of the state. But I don't believe that we haven't selected them, nor have we ultimately agreed to work together on a development. It's more of a let's continue to negotiate and discuss this.
So what I understood is that you have this one, but there were like 3 others that said, we'd be interested, but it's outside of our schedule.
It is.
So if this one doesn't work out, is it the idea then to reopen the bidding and say, okay, you guys come?
Yeah, we've lifted sort of our previous schedule that, hey, we wanted to get a shovel in the ground early next year. There's a small possibility that could happen, but likelihood that it'll be a 2019 groundbreaking, which we believe will afford us the opportunity to find the right fit. That we just didn't want to, jump in with a developer and not have a good sense of their experience, their qualifications, but also what their plan was for the site. The last thing we want to do is sell it to a developer without certainty, which the city would never do. So that gives us some time to continue to negotiate that, possibly involve the community in the process to hear from folks. We anecdotally hear that people want to live on the riverfront or they want a condo or an apartment downtown, but we really don't know how much that demand looks like. So a major component of the pause, really in the schedule, it's not so much of a pause, but it'll be a pause to those that are not part of the discussion, and that is for them to quantify the demand. What is the demand for apartments and condos in the downtown? So they'll do their own analysis, and that's what they're doing right now.
Okay. And when do you anticipate some kind of a decision?
I think we'll continue to have discussions and negotiations over summer, and then we'll have something in early fall that the council might take action on. Again, that's a loosely defined time frame, but we fully intend. They're a qualified developer. They've done projects like this around the state that we've seen and been happy with. But of course, we've got to make it right for Wisconsin Rapids.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing, and that's what taxpayers are wondering
about. Exactly.
And
so.
Okay, and in terms of riverfront, you got that. Another grant from the state?
We did. We were successful on another state grant, which will be able to support our first phase and future phase work. We're currently going through river modeling, so it tells us how much of the floodway we're impacting, which we cannot impact any of it. So we need to really refine some of the designs to make sure that it's compliant with the DNR regs and ultimately to get a green light on a permit.
Okay, and the first part would be across the street from the hospital.
Correct. Demetz Park, we're maintaining that we want to keep an under bridge crossing so pedestrians and bicyclists can get underneath the Riverview Expressway from the north to the south safely and effectively. So that project still remains on the table, and we're working hard on that. Every week we're having calls with the designers and the architects to make it work. And we believe that we'll have a permit application into the state here in July sometime. And we remain on a schedule that we could potentially break ground for aspects of it yet this fall. And then main construction would happen next year. So major component to that is riverbank stabilization with the river wall. And so that's a very delicate subject when it comes to working with the state and obviously the Army Corps of Engineers, et cetera.
Well, this has been a very interesting morning. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. Ashley, give a final word. Why should people make the plunge?
Donate today so that we can keep having amazing fireworks and have a regional aquatic center for the future generations.
There you go. Come on, the youth are calling you out, folks. Let's do this. If they're willing to work at it, we can. The least we can do is help them out. Your Honor, this was fun.
It was fun. I encourage folks to go on YouTube and search for the Aquatic Center 3D fly-through. I just looked at the numbers. We had 80 views on Friday. We have 1,500 today, so we know people are checking out the design. So if they haven't seen it, there's a lot more people that need to see that fly-through. It really gives a realistic view of the facility.
And thanks to Jesse and everybody at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media.
Jesse, Travis, and Tom, they're quite the crew. They make this stuff happen.
Yeah, thank you guys for making the simulcast possible. And with that, we'll wrap up this edition of the Morning Magazine.